Make sure you listen carefully today because your world will forever be changed. Today we talk about reducing fractions, which means, a lot of times they'll say reduce two lowest terms. And what they mean by that, we talked about the other day that let's say you have 2/3, you could write thousands of fractions, millions and billions of fractions that mean the same thing as 2/3 by multiplying the top and the bottom by any number. For example, if I multiply both top and bottom by 2, I end up with 4/6. Or if I multiply both top and the bottom by 3, I get 6/9. Or if I multiply them both by 4, I get 8/12. Okay, those are all equal fractions. But when you give your answers in math, you have to reduce them to the lowest fraction that is equal to it. And that's what's called reducing to lowest terms. Okay, so if you see a fraction like 6/9 and you write 6/9 down on your paper, it will be wrong from this point forward because it can be reduced down to a smaller fraction that means the same thing. Now, how do you know how to reduce it? Well, the simple little thing is this. You look at both numbers, both the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator, and see if, I gotta find a new place. Look at both numbers and see if, they can be, I shouldn't even write this because I can't. They can be divided by the same number. Look at both numbers and see if they can be divided by the same number. They can be divided by the same number. In other words, if you see the numbers 6 and 9, you look at those and you go, is there a number that both 6 and 9 can be divided by? And here again, it helps to know your multiplication table, which we've talked about. What number goes into 6 and 9? 3. So you divide the 6 by 3 and you divide the 9 by 3. You end up with 2/3. And that is its lowest terms because no number goes into 2 and 3 that you could divide into them. And we'll look at a couple other examples here. What about 5/10? If you have the fraction 5/10, that fraction is not reduced as far as it can be. What number goes into both 5 and 10? What can you divide 10 and 5 both by? Brooklyn?
2.
2 doesn't go into 5. What number goes into both 5 and 10?
1.
Yeah, 1, but you'll get 5/10, so that doesn't help you. You can divide by ones forever and it's not going to change anything. Nobody knows what number goes into 5 and 10? How about 5? Divide both top and bottom by 5, you end up with 1/2. 5/10 is the same fraction as 1/2. Another example, 6/8. 6/8. What number can you divide both 6 and 8 by?
4.
4 doesn't go into 6. It's got to go evenly into it. Carol? 2. So you divide them both by 2, you end up with 3/4. If you ate 6/8 of a pizza, you ate 3/4 of that same pizza. It's got to be a number that goes evenly into it. It has to be a factor of that. Now here is another example of that from the book. It'll say to do this. Add 1/8 plus 5/8 and reduce. So first thing I'm going to do is what on my paper? Lady? Thank you very much. 1/8 plus 5/8, and when I add those two fractions together, you get 5 plus 1 is 6/8. Okay, no longer can you stop there. Every time you get a fraction for an answer, you must ask yourself, can this fraction be reduced? Is there some number that goes into both 6 and 8 that I can divide it by to get an equal fraction? Lance says 2, just like I think you just did this problem. You divide 6 by 2, you get 3. Divide 8 by 2, you get 4. And 3/4 would be the answer. 6/8 means the same thing, but in the math world, we always try to make it as simple as possible. How about this one? I'll give you one to try. 5 and 5/6 minus 2 and 1/6. 5 and 5/6 minus 2 and 1/6. Go ahead and do that problem for me. We have a lot of band people today, do we?
We have a lot of blanks.
People are sick.
4. No, 3. And then we have 3 band.
5 and 5/6 minus 2 and 1/6. Write them up and down. Do the subtraction. Can you reduce your answer? Can you reduce the fraction in your answer? What did you get when you subtracted, Molly?
3 and 4.
But you can't keep 4/6 because it can be reduced. What do you divide it by, Jaden?
2.
Cut it in half, sure, divide by 2, and you end up with 2/3. Your answer should have been 3 and 2/3. Any questions on that? Believe me, you'll hear it more times than not. And some of you probably will get some wrong because you haven't done that, but you do always need to reduce to